No, it's not me who believes this. I'm just exposing it. It's a Jewish Kabbalist named Doreen Doughton who spills the beans. Actually, she's not supposed to tell this secret, and she's afraid of getting in trouble for telling it. But she spilled the beans.
This is, beyond doubt, the most serious video I've ever undertaken to make, and I really agonized whether or not to make it at all, whether or not you would understand, and you probably won't, and whether or not I would incur punishment for making the video, because one of the things that we're not supposed to do is reveal secrets of the Kabbalah. And if I don't tell you what I need to tell you, there's every chance that this world could die. And so I'm going to tell you a secret that's never been told before, outside of very, very, very close circles. And I'm going to be talking about creation of humanity in this video. That's what this video is all about. I've been getting a lot of messages and seeing a lot of videos about Gentiles trying to understand who the Elohim are. I'm not going to pronounce that name as it's correctly pronounced, because when you throw that name around kind of, willy-nilly, all you manage to do is kind of look presumptuous to us and a bit silly, and it embarrasses us that you're aping us. But when we start to use holy names, things actually happen, and we only use those names when we pray. So I'm going to say here in Elohim, and people are asking whether or not the Elohim created them. And the answer is yes. Absolutely. But they're not aliens that came from another dimension or another planet. I'm going to tell you who the Elohim really are.
Where does Doreen get all these crazy ideas? She gets them from the Kabbalah, which gets the information from the ancient mystery schools of Babylon.
So people are trying to grapple with what it is about feeling that you're not quite real, that you're somehow being created, and people come out with all kinds of ideas. Well, maybe we're robots, maybe we're being created by supercomputers on another planet by another culture that's far more advanced than ours. All kinds of different ideas, which tells me that people are asking questions about their own reality and how they're actually being created, and they're beginning to ask questions in the forms in which the Kabbalah answers.
I know what you must be thinking, that all the Jews don't believe this way, do they? Well, the Orthodox Jews, the ultra-Orthodox, and the Hasidic all accept the Kabbalah. And guess what? The Orthodox Jews are in political power right now under Chabad Lubavitch.
I want to talk about what it is to be a goy, what that really means, why the Talmud uses the terms that it does, what those terms really means. What is the Kabbalah? You've heard that the Kabbalah means the receiving, which is true. That's what it means, but that's a euphemism. What the Kabbalah actually is God and his wife, Israel, having sex. That's what the Kabbalah really is. My husband looked at me, he goes, I can't believe she said that. But I'm telling him, yeah, you should have seen his face. Yeah, that's what it is. And when God and his wife, Israel, have sex, the result of that is a birth. Worlds are born out of that union, communion, and those worlds are inhabited by living beings, all kinds of living beings, among them you, the Gentiles. You are our creation. You've heard that the Elohim created man. That is absolutely correct, except that it's not just in the past, it's a continuous present. And I'm going to tell you who the Elohim are. My husband is looking at me out of this, he's going, I don't believe she's saying this, but it has to be said, because the alternative are the chemtrails and the FEMA camps and the Morgellons and all of the other horrors that the imagination is now conjuring up. And the alternative to telling you this truth is far worse than not telling you. The Talmud calls you Goy. The Talmud refers to you as Chaya, which you think means animal, or even worse, cattle. You think that Goy is a derogatory term. None of that is the case. The name Chava, which you mispronounce as Eve, in fact all of your languages are mispronounced Hebrew, all of them. The name Chava is numerically equal to the word Goy. In Hebrew, the fact that words are numerically equal are extremely important. It means that they're two aspects of one mega concept. They come out as different phenomena, but at root they are one and the same thing. So Eve and Goy is the same thing. And another one of the words that equals 19, which is the numerical value of Chava and Goy, is the word Hogei, which means to meditate and to pronounce, like the kinds of pronunciations that we make when we pray. You have been told that we think of you as being somehow subhuman. That is a misunderstanding. The reality of the situation is you are human. We are something else.
So you've probably heard that there's going to be a big deception in the end times where the aliens say that they were our creators. Well, this puts a new spin on things, doesn't it?
We are not aliens, but we are the children of the Most High. You are not. You are our children. You are the children of Elohim. I am sorry to have to tell this to you, but it is the absolute truth, and you're going to have to face this reality. What's called enoshut, which is humanity, is not the same thing as Adam, which is usually translated as man, but is not man. And I'll show you from the sources that Adam is Elohim. That's us. You are the Enoshut. So it's not that you're subhuman. It's that we are above human. We are your creators. thought is going to go through your mind, well, if you think you're our creators and you think that you can destroy us. And my answer to you is, I know that we are your creators. And I also know that being your creators does not mean that we have every right to be your destroyers. It doesn't work that way.
But Doreen says they're not aliens. They're gods. She really did say that.
And then it goes on to say, nevertheless, you will die like men and fall like one of the ministers. That is to say, even though we are above the level of human, we are still mortal. Most of the levels of reality that you're accustomed to seeing is if something is of a different species, it has a different form. Humans and Adam and prophets all have the same physical form. So you think that they're one and the same species. They are not. Jews and Gentiles are not the same species. We are not the same order of existence. We look alike, and the reason why we look alike is because you're being created in our image, but we are not one and the same.
The New Testament says that the Antichrist sits up in God's temple and proclaims himself to be God. This is exactly what she's doing.
We are Adam, and we are the Elohim. The Gentiles, on the other hand, is what is called Chava. And that is why the Talmud says, you are called Adam, and the worshippers of the planets are not called Adam. That means the Gentiles. And then the Gentile says, well, I don't worship the planets. In fact, you do. And you are very much worshippers of your own minds. You are lost in your thoughts. Your thoughts control you. And that is why we call you idol worshippers. That is why we call you people who worship planets, because you're enthralled by your own brilliance.
Now she's going to explain how they create us with the Hebrew language when they speak it. It comes out in their breath. Our souls come out in their breath when they speak Hebrew. They idolize this language of theirs, and they attribute magical powers to Hebrew.
We create you through the medium of our language of Hebrew. That is how you are created. When we pronounce Hebrew, the forms that go off from those pronunciations create the worlds. You have been taught that King David, Shlomo, King Solomon, David's son, said that all the world is vanity. This is the way you have been taught it actually goes. No, what King Shlomo said, Hevel. Hevel does not mean vanity. Hevel is the vapor that is emitted from the mouth when we speak. You can see that when it gets cold. When we speak in Hebrew, the Hevel, the vapor that is emitted from our souls, from our ruach, our spirit, come out in the forms of the Hebrew letters, and those combine to create living beings, meaning you. If you were to speak Hebrew, that would not happen.
I wish I could tell you this was just one crazy lady, but this is what they teach, and this is what they believe. If you'd like more information, go check out my website. Thank you for watching.